Hi everyone, you're welcome to NJ Apparel tutorial, and today we'll be learning how to make a dartless pencil skirt using the hip allocation method. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and don't forget to like this video. So these are the measurements we'll be needing for today's illustration. So the first thing we'll be doing is to insert our vertical measurements, which are the waist to the hip depth and the full length. So the waist to the hip depth measurement I'm using is 8 inch. So I'll be inserting the 8 inch at this point. Then the next measurement I'll be inserting is my full length, which is 24 inch. I'll be marking the same thing on this other side so that I'll be able to draw a straight horizontal line. So here we have the waistline at this point. Then this is our hip line, and we have the full length at this point. The next thing we'll be doing is to insert our waist and hip circumference. Remember, we're using the hip allocation method. This means that the front and the back hip will not be the same, and the main aim of this hip allocation is to bring out that perfect fitting at the back of the skirt, and also to help us contour the back of the skirt properly. And in doing that, we are going to be using this formula, which is the hip divided by 2 plus 1.5 for the back and minus 1.5 for the front. The hip measurement I'm using is 38 inch divided by 2. The answer is 19. So for the front, I'm going to be using 19 minus 1.5, which is equals to 17.5. So I'll be dividing this 17.5 by 2, which will give me 8.75. So I'll be using 8.75 for the front, while for the back I'm going to be using 19 plus 1.5, which is equals to 20.5. I'll also divide this by 2, which is going to give me 10.25. So I'll be using 10.25 for the back, and I'll be using 8.75 for the front. Now I'm going to be inserting the 8.75 on my hip line like this. So I'll be marking it at this point. Then for the hem, because we are drafting the pencil skirt, the formula I'll be using for this is the hip divided by 4 minus 1 or 1.5, depending on how pencil you want the skirt to be. So the hip I'm using is 38 divided by 4 is 9.5, then minus 1.5 is going to give us 8 inch. So I'll be inserting the 8 inch at this point, after which I'll be connecting this point to this point using a straight line. So next I'll be inserting my waist measurement on the waistline. The waist measurement I'm using is 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. So I'm going to be marking this point as the 7.5. Then I'll connect to the hip line using a curve. So this is how the skirt is going to look like after that. So the next thing we'll be doing is to draw the underbelly curve. In doing that, we'll be coming down by 0.5 inch or 1 inch at the center point like this. Then we connect to the side of the skirt. This is done so as to avoid folding when the skirt is being worn, and it will make the skirt to balance well on the body. So this is basically what the front will look like after drafting. Next, we'll be going over to draft the back. So now we'll be going over to draft the back. So what I did was just to redraw some lines, the waistline, the hip line, and the full length. So the hip line for the front and back is the same, so I marked the same thing. So this line here is going to serve as our zipper allowance, but we are not going to be leaving it straight like this. Remember, we are using the hip allocation method, and the aim of the hip allocation is to have that curve behind. So the 1.5 we took from the front, we are going to be replacing it at this zipper allowance point first. So the first thing I'll be doing now is to insert the waist measurement, which is 7.5 on the waistline like this. Then the next thing I'll be doing is to insert the hip measurement on the hip line. Remember, we calculated 10.25 for that, so I'm going to be inserting it on the hip line, and I'm going to be starting from the zipper allowance point by fixing that 1.5 first. But before then, I'll be extending this line like this. Then I'm going to be putting that 1.5 and minus from the front at this point, after which I'll be connecting it to the waist using a curve like this. So the next thing I'll be doing is to insert the hip measurement. I'll be starting from that 1.5 point. So I'll be inserting the 10.25, starting from this point to the side of the skirt. So here we have our 10.25. Then I'll connect. Then I'll connect to the waistline using a curve also. This is how the curve is going to look like. What we're going to be doing is to insert our measurement on the hem. Remember, we use 8 on the front, so we are going to be using the same thing. Then we'll connect to the hip line like this. Next we are going to be doing is to contour this back side, and in doing that we are going to be coming down by 6 to 8 inch depending on how the back is. So I'm coming down by 7 inch. Then I'm going to contour the curve. I'm going to contour it to that 7 inch point like this to have this curve at the back side. So this is what it's going to look like after it has been contoured. So next I'll be inserting the zipper allowance following this curve like this. So I'll mark it on the hemline also, and also at this point. So next I'm going to be connecting this down part. I'm going to be using a straight line for this lower part. Then I'm going to be using a curve at this part like this. So also when sewing, remember to follow the curve so that after sewing you will have the effect you want. So this part here is going to serve as the zipper allowance, and when sewing, please try to follow the curve. So after this, the next thing we'll be doing is to cut. So don't forget to add your sewing allowance on your fabric, or you can decide to add the sewing allowance before you cut. So this part here is going to serve as the zipper allowance, and when sewing, please try to follow the curve. So after cutting, this is what the back should look like, and here we have the front. So this is the side of the front. When placed together, it should fit properly like this. So when sewing, you will not have issues. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please don't forget to subscribe if you are new to my channel, and also Don't forget to like this video. Thank you very much.